on their head.
Yeah, I mean, Connie, does this make Arcides a 2.6-time world champ if he wins this LAN? Or maybe if you factor in all the locals that he's already won? We can do the math a little bit later. But no, I mean,
yeah, I feel like
the smoke is already...
I feel like he hates prime numbers, to be honest, Quinn. So I really think he's going to read the spies to 2.6 if we were to even attach it to that title. But I really think, though, Encourage and Hyde on the SGP roster are at least two new names that at least will have the experience of Arcides and Paul X to rely on in tough situations.
Yeah, no, I mean, as you said, it's a loaded roster. You got Arcides, Polex. That is nothing to be putting past anything in the grand scheme of things. Encourage and Hyde as well joining in the mix. For Elation, it's a little bit of an underdog story here when you stack the two up. I mean, you got Rep, Kex, Yin, and Cray, but definitely want to be looking out for Reciprocity. Keep an ear out, too. He likes to chirp a lot, usually backs it up with his play. So they have the bark, but do they have the bite? The question will be answered as we have 3 maps ready to go. You talked about courses. I mean, this is a 3-course meal right here. SGP taking on Elation. Winner of this kicks off their pool play 1-0. Vista, hardpoint to kick things off. Connie, I love me some good Vista.
I know, a very polarizing map. Some pros love it, some pros hate it, but the best teams always come out on top in the most convincing fashion. It all comes down to the first break off Lo6, and already SGP community gonna throw some nades over the top. Elation no first to touch.
Well, let's get it going. SGP quick into the hill, trying to get the kills to fortify, but it's Elation who's going to strike first until Arcides, the 2.5-time world champ, kicks his way on into the hill, looking to add insult to injury and looking to make his name felt on this land great stage.
Interesting to see though, Elation actually got a lot of opportunity here to get kills. Hyde though, the wonderful wrap around the back opens up a large wave for community now to actually get some free time. Scrap time is the last contest between these two teams on P1. It looks like the Pink are going to go all the way, while Elation start to flood the south side of the map and establish a P2 hold.
Oh, Encourage almost had that as well. Rep is going to stay alive. He's going to have to do a whole lot, and backed up against Arcides, it's not going to be enough here. SGP quick to make the rotation, even with the time still ticking away on the hill, and Hyde will be able to collect that. Will definitely be hitting the left foot, right foot express as P2 comes online, and SGP with the rotation.
Very far out position for Hyde, but I understand the point of view here. It's actually to trap Elation in their own spawn, or at least suppress it because it's 20 seconds uncontested, and it's an idea that, when well thought through and executed, buys free time for SGP to extend their lead.
Oh my goodness, Arcides gets put on skates, and that's going to give Kex the opportunity to get some time up on the hill for the side of Elation. Hyde is still into the hill, though. And Arcides with a nice Kobe up above is going to free up the time for SGP. Back and forth we go, as it's a mixy contention here for that scrap. But Rep is going to have the opportunity to get those trophy systems down. Not going to be a factor, though, as SGP still striking hard.
Still Pink, and they actually have got very fast spawns here, but a little interesting point out there is that Neuten is almost removed from this scrap time, right? It wants to hold the angle for the cross, predicting SGP are going to actually alleviate pressure on this scrap time, flood early on, but it's actually only just Paul X rotating over in one.
Oh, Pollux is going to get dropped, though, and that is the opening that Elation needs to finally start collecting some time on the board. Currently a 50-point deficit. Very easy to get back in the mix of things, but you're going to have to get the kills to justify your positioning. They are going to have the rotation in, but it's getting very, very mixy, and Hyde just continues to add insult to injury. 7 and 4, 3 of those kills coming in quick succession as SGP is on for the time.
They've absolutely dominated rotations and controlled spawns to a T, and it's rewarded them with a massive gap in points. They only really have 2 more kills to look at when Elation cross, but Hyde can pretty much do his namesake and hide away a 4 dead, and because Paul X is so far punched up, they spawn nowhere near the hill. Elation.
I mean, they are just skeet shooting at this point, and they also have those spawns over towards P4 as well. Still quick in the future, 11 seconds left, and Arcides is going to be the hill kitten there, get that time up on the board. Elation is going to be making the hit straight through main in a matter of moments. And SGP, you take a look at where number 4 spawned on your map. That's Paul X, very far away from the hill, so it's not going to be something where they're going to have a whole lot of manpower into this hill.
Interesting though, no close opportunity for Elation. As Neuten gets eliminated in that position, it's 3 players stacked on the point for community, and they are quite literally trying to keep Elation as far away from the hill as possible. Full 60s have been soaked for the last 4 hills, and this is becoming a massive chasm, a Grand Canyon of points.
140 to 19, Connie. I'm sure those comms are sounding great. Let's kick it over to SGP. Hear the masterclass.
Yeah. They're spawning P2 on me. I'm wrapping the back.
Yeah, they're spawning P2 close. I'm holding it.
You guys all leaving me? Alright, bro.
Yeah.
Nothing.
On you, Credin. One shot down. Playing my life.
He's shot me old, I don't see him.
He's going to.
I need help in the back.
Yeah, I'm here.
That's my P2. Playing my life.
Days for me.
Okay, just good body.
I'm gonna shoot
There's one
bro.
T somewhere. Yeah, he's looking for me. He's probably like
There's one T, one on time, one 2P1. Yeah, one P1 captures churches. There's one last kid's going P1. He's going P1 car park.
He's on bar now. On bar.
Yeah, he hasn't shot.
He's
Just in there. They're spawning to your left towards.
in the back, I think.
Back killing you.
Yeah, Yin got me middle. Mid going couches. Couches at the end. 3, 4.
They're all.
I'll grab and courage.
I get 3 minutes, yeah.
I'm middle.
I'll do Haggard there, man.
I mean, you hear the human UAV going to work there. RC's calling out all of the IPs, the locations of Elation, and there's just nothing that you can do when that is taking place, Connie.
Not just that, the connections of the shots also really rain through as SGP looks to at least establish some form of spawn control. That's where Elation upsetting the balance. And a nice wrap as well from Rep through the mid only opens up a little lane where SGP community are running straight into 2 ARs.
My goodness. For Elation, it might just about be done. SGP, within the first set of rotations, already breaking into that 200-point barrier. You could not ask for more out of these guys as they're going to be able to parlay that P5 quickly into P1 as well. For Elation, they can't even buy a break.
Lots of players from Elation in this contest. Courage's got a better angle actually to get him out because he's holding down an AR right on the entry point of Elation. So it's only really in consolation we see this time go to blue way as SGP can start funneling through the north side of the map, hit the staircase and really push out Elation for a massive flip.
SGP trying to close it here and now, could do very much so, but Cray is going to keep the hopes alive. 3 kills on the board. It's going to be a tall task ahead to get into the mix of this, let alone even try and contest for the win. But Cray is putting on a masterclass to do so. Quick to attack back on in, though, is SGP. A couple of kills matriculate their way. Cannot win in on this hill, but they will collect that scrap.
Yeah, it's almost a consolation. 30 points to win the game. Elation have pretty much got that on the board right now. And that just shows you how far the disparity is between these two teams. And kicking off pools in such a way where SGP have watched everyone play so far, assessed who their biggest threats are. And Elation have only really woken up, it feels like now, in the final few moments of the match.
Yeah, and it's not the ideal scenario by any stretch of the imagination. Rep, the last try into the hill, but it's not going to be enough. SGP collecting the time, getting the cutoff crossers as well to go their way. Last player who can really make anything happen is not going to be able to. And SGP open us up with a 100-point club and pure dominance.
Now that is some way to introduce yourselves here in Columbus. Familiar territory for Paul X and Alec. They've played in the CDL in this particular area. So you know what? Maybe the home advantage actually can be theirs, regardless of Legends of 6. I really think, that there's some familiarity of knowing, actually, Paul's reached the final here. Alex also reached the final here. So it almost feels like, again, that it's beyond the game of Call of Duty and they actually meticulously know what it takes to win in Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, they have that winning blueprint down to a T. Are looking to instill their will early on within pool play. Elation. Again, this is a team where we have seen them within the Premier Circuit. They have had a lot of success, specifically within these tournaments. But when you bring SGP into the mix of this, and obviously you have pure gunners on this squad, it's a very tall hill for Elation if they want to try and climb it, if they want to bark back in any particular way. Definitely showing that the underdog story might get snuffed out early, though. High Rise, S&D coming up next, though.
It's impressive to look, particularly how well we can see a team like SGP and the caliber they have on Search and Destroy, knowing that the biggest moments in Call of Duty always come down to this game mode, and the experience, again, in this early on is always going to be the most valuable asset to a team with 2 youngsters on it.
Yeah, S&D, I mean, everybody knows, it wins championships. When all is said and done, if your S&D is not there in a best of 3 and a best of 5, you're cooked. It's not going to happen. That being said, for Elation, I mean, in this map, Connie, they just have to hope that they can slow things down because SGP is just way too fast to be kept up with, no?
They're probably a team as well that came into the pool play realizing, oh god, we played Paul X and RC's first game. So, they're not really going to be in the most positive mood upon instant reflection of the draw. But, you know, I feel like once you get stuck into the first map and realize, okay, this is expected, can we actually start scaling up now and getting into it? Of course, it's going to happen to teams that potentially face a stronger opponent. And I've always mentioned, again, the key point of when you're facing a stronger opponent is that they don't really know much about you. So, I mean, the vetoes, again, you always expect that they're going to win every single map, but if the upsets happen, it's harder for a stronger team to recover and realize what's going on because mentally, in their head, they've accepted that they're going to win the series. So, yeah, it's about playing the psychological battles incredibly well, especially on this level.
It is such a mental game. I mean, again, for Elation, this is not what they wanted to see on their bingo card right here. SGP is that team where they're going to go very far. We will be talking about them tomorrow. Absolutely. That being said, again, you have a player like Reciprocity on this team, right? And again, this is a guy who has a lot of gusto. Obviously, you want his mental to be very, very high for this team. It feels like a lot of this team's worth is going to funnel through, hey, what is Reciprocity doing? Where is Reciprocity positioning himself? And what is he bringing for this team in terms of that mentality boost? I feel like getting things off on that hard point is going to definitely take a mental hit. For Elation, it's just about climbing out of that hole and not letting things get way too out. It's the memory of a pigeon, the resilience of a tiger, Connie.
I think that's obviously the way to go forward in a short series and a best of 3 in this fashion. I do know for a fact as well that Yin on Elation, of course, was featured as well in the top 5 players, the ones to watch for this particular LAN event. And I feel like, you know, in moments like this, we're facing the best team. Yin is the person that gets the eyeballs the most. So it's just a lot of pressure on one individual that easily, again, you know, you could come in the mentality of like, you know, whatever it is what it is. We've got 2 more matches to play in pools. This is the best team in the tournament by far. Or it's like, oh, we have something to prove. And it's the conviction of those 2 mentalities in Call of Duty that always tends to make or break a team when they're in the spotlight.
Absolutely. And it's also very interesting, again, SGP, we also talked about them very briefly when we were interviewing Ryan from Omit, who called out Arcades, which is always great to see. I instigated that. I'll take full credit.
You did.
But SGP, I mean, you talked about it. I mean, they are the top dogs within the grand scheme of things. And you kind of look cross-pool, I guess you could say. It's a very similar start that we saw with Omit against their matchup with Unreal Nightmare. In fact, it was 250 to 52 during that. We just finished this. It was 250 to 43. So it's about a 9-point differential between these 2 teams on a hard point, if that's anything to carry on paper. Nonetheless, let's get bounced on into the high-rise S&D.
Elation were front of utility early, but SGP have saved theirs. They've actually gone underground straight to dodge information and find first blood where it be fit. But maybe to kill their hides found, if the camera is held, you spot the bomb, okay, you can get RCs and Courage to flood that and hold off the bomb for all means necessary.
Cray trying to take the chow, and Courage is just going to put him on skates and send him 6 feet under. Rep, last player standing briefly, highlighted him. You got to get the mental up. He's going to put Arcades down, but it's not going to be much more to be found there. SGP going to find the round. I mean, the charge from SGP, though, especially out of high to get so active, but win the 1. It just goes to show that this team is high and above.
And it's just encouraged now stepping up in these big moments where the teammates that he is with are such high caliber. The pressure you feel playing with RCs and Paul X is one of which I would only dream of as a player. But with 2 youngsters coming in and performing as well as they did, encouraged with pretty much a 2 KD on the hard point to kick things off, it's just great signs and potentially teammates for these 2 players going into the Black Ops 6 season.
I mean, this team, it looks very, very promising. We say goodbye to MW3. Now Elation trying to show some promise themselves on the attacker side. Bomb in their court. Not Ian is going to find that nade. Very cheeky off to encourage. It's a big kill on the board. Still have those 3 other players they have to deal with. Not a whole lot of information to go as they exchange shots to go. And Cray is going to find another. RCs will finally respond on behalf of SGP. Brings it to a 2v3. Not a whole lot of map positioning towards that bomb.
Positioning's always tricky. SGP actually found a very interesting way of dealing with a helicopter in that situation. I mean, Paul there, when called to action, always answers. The post-plant 1v2 with nade in hand. Doesn't really matter so much when you're shooting like that. I feel like, again, Cray's really quaking a little bit here. Although it's an easy spot, great discipline to hold the trigger because you can't give Paul information in a spot where he's got momentum.
Cray's trying to play that time, but that time is not necessarily favoring if Paul continues to move as quickly as he is. It looks like Cray has the read, but no. Paul's going to play behind the building, and hold on, wait a minute. The wraparound goes, ring around the rosy is reducing Paul to Posey. And Elation will find a round on the board, and that feels like that's kind of their breather that they desperately wanted.
Obviously impressive to watch Cray in that situation against such a seasoned veteran like Paul in Search and Destroy, who of course has taken time out of Call of Duty to focus on life stuff and come back, and we felt like he hasn't been anywhere. He hasn't gone away. He is still the same old Paul that performs at the highest level, and even in that situation again there, I imagine it doesn't really impact him much losing that 1v1 this early on, because still the strategy and the attacking side of both teams is very strong, and they look more towards how they lost players in the first place.
Certainly, SGP has such great mental fortitude for Elation. That round is definitely key, though. Trying to prove that you can stack up against the big dogs within this tournament landscape here. That's one way to do it. Yin with another kill to kick us off here. It's going to give Elation that early man advantage. SGP flushed over towards that B side. Not a whole lot for Hyde in terms of positional advantage here. Waiting for his teammates to come on in. Not providing enough here and might go down in the mix of this.
Nice trade, but Cray is actually doing the most impact for Elation so far. Paul can only hold a short angle. Thanks to FOV, though, it's quite easy to spot. But does he read the pressure? No! Elation with a clean interception. And that right there is how you get 2 rounds in a bounce and actually put question marks in SGP's head.
Yeah, and again, this is Elation, a very momentum-based team. Obviously, probably hearing Rep in in the venue getting a little bit active, potentially. If we know him for anything, it is that mouth of his.
Oh, and then that mouth of his. Narski's got a similar sort of tendency as well. A great pioneer of Australian M&A, who last week said he greatly respects my anus. Anyway,
that,
Elation.
Going to round 4.
Yeah, what a way to enter, as he says. Now, we go towards
Debias.
At least an attacking side for Elation. SGP, they've already lost a player.
Elation is getting these early kills with the long-range engagements into spawns. It's really setting themselves up for success. Cray will eventually be chopped down, though. Yin with the exchange, and back and forth we go. Comes down to Hyde and Paulex for the side of SGP. Don't have the bomb in hand. Elation doesn't.
Oh, missed shots there is actually putting question marks to Elation now, as SGP can miss it, retime, and make the challenge with pretty much ease. Now in a 1v2, Norton's getting tagged up, he's been pressed, bomb is down, and it's just a simple, clean jump shot for SGP to get themselves even Steven.
Yeah, Elation's definitely showing a little bit of that bark back. But at SGP, it just feels like they are inevitable. I mean, their gunplay, their firepower, it's just a matter of time until they start to kick it to high gear on any map, on any game mode, on any combo.
In a spot now where Elation only have to respond to what was a round when it got dismantled by SGP, it has to be a bit of a change of strategy. I'm looking forward to seeing how they can deal with the underground pressure that SGP puts on the map straight away, because their set nades always go through, and it's very interesting to see how they deal with the pressure early on.
Here we go. Elation's gonna get very aggressive, specifically Cray on the defensive side. Just going to fire through the wall and connects onto Encourage. That is so cheeky out of him. SGP is gonna want that one back, that is for sure. It's gonna give Elation again that opportunity to just continue to press forward. Cray with another kill onto Hyde, who's overextended, just sending the shots in, and Cray is feeling himself.
Cray, perfect movement, but equally as so, you just simply can't deny the fact that Paul did so well to hold his life there, because look at the timing it's brought Ferocities and a 1v4 in the best position to actually deal with the players. So this is almost a perfect play. Elation they got eyes, they got, you know, owl vision to even spot in that situation.
My goodness. And again, it's those early kills. There's a very formulaic approach that Elation has to these rounds. It's that early kill, then they just hit the ignition and go. Cray got away with murder, literally, on that first kill and just completely took control of the round on the side of Elation. And now for SGP, I mean, they're starting to feel a little bit of resistance finally, it feels like.
I know. Cray getting punished in almost hardest spots to find situations from solutions. I feel like SGP have found a wonderful way, nonetheless, to use the utility well. At least now we're seeing some connections, but maybe that right there is one of the reasons why this map never gets picked. Environmental deaths in a 2v4.
This is a disaster. Hyde trying to fight back, trying to get the kills on the board. Paul, some way, somehow, is going to stay alive. But Yin is going around the corner, takes Paul out. Hyde will be able to get the exchange. It comes down to a 1v1. Bomb in the hand of Kex. He'll slide around, but no! SGP is going to get the kill to go. Hyde with the clutch. Is going to keep things knotted.
Use of Daddy only had audio cue when he exited the gate. It's 50-50 at that point for even Kex to realize which way he's gone. But the drop shot just ensures the kill. And Hyde there played the perfect mechanics to even in that situation get the kill with the camera disadvantage and no actual registry of a bullet. So that is just, you know, picture perfect. Great discipline. Now, round
Exactly what you want to
number 7. Right, Quinn? So Hyde's on a streak of 3. Will the cruise missiles actually be played in?
Hyde's definitely trying to build towards that. Top priority as he gets active over towards that A side of things. Different approach out of SGP now. Really see them hit over towards B, but now flushing over towards A. Actually just trying to gain that middle control, it looks like. Paul-X is going to change the approach. Sit calm and collected in that B site. Oh!
Let the trades ring, because SGP, in spots where they could only potentially lose 2 players, first the odds. Although Yin found a kill in the back, 1v2, bomb is down. SGP can collect it in almost quick fashion, but Yin's read it as almost like, right, they're going to go to A for sure. It has to be a fake at some point, but no. They're reinforcing B. Encourage has got a full utility belt. Both have stuns, so this could easily be one of the most defining factors and stall the momentum, even in Yin's case, in a 1vx situation.
32 seconds left to work with here, and it just feels like it's going to be so difficult for Yin, but no, hold on. Finds the kill, finds the second!
Whoa, okay.
Yin! Firing missiles, my lord! Elation, some way, gonna walk away with that round!
Not just a lead in this map, but it's a tilting moment for SGP, because Yin has just hit what feels like an out-of-world shot. At that stage as well, 7 rounds in, it's just almost unacceptable. You can't tolerate that if you're the leader of SGP and losing that round. But I feel like, again, that's where, in the situations where they do arise, a stun's perfect. We know that there's plenty in the belt. Yin, though, just pulled an act of God out of nowhere. So we look towards now round number 8. Particularly, what can SGP do to respond in tough times?
You know, that is not at all what SGP was anticipating, lining up and getting completely taken down. Now Elation with a little bit of fire backing them. Have to be very careful, though. They cannot get so aggressive. All the explosions. Hyde is going to continue to aggress forward. It's just going to completely set things the way of SGP, but hold on. Cray and Kex will respond with 2. Maybe a little overzealous from the side of SGP as it now comes down to an even slope.
Cray's actually only got the best position here because there's a gunfight between Encourage and Kex. Only really baits out the remaining players in the team, so everyone's going to be very close in a second. And this is where spacing is so key. Making sure, again, you've got the fights ready where they need to be. Oh, high level. Shooting the bomb. Baiting crowd position. Teammate might get the kill.
Cray. A little bit of information to be gained. Bomb picked up. But now, timing being the additional factor here. It's going to come down to Encourage and Kex. 1v1. Bomb down. 8 seconds left. Encourage has the high ground to work with, but so does Kex. Obi-Wan versus Obi-Wan, if you will. No explosion to be had either. Encourage can just bait out this time. 17 seconds.
And why not?
Kex.
Kex, though, taking a bit of route, saw the pixel. And it's a clean kill in a situation where playing stagnant in SGP's position was not the right answer. Elation, they're now a map point. We could be seeing a third control being pulled out today, and that is something that SGP, who came with all confidence going 2-0 in this match, is actually seeing plenty of holes in their S&D so far.
Yeah, no, unexpected. I think Elation has definitely gotten the jump on them in many respects, and it's just, again, that customary way where they're getting those early frags, they're getting that early man advantage, and then they're just allowing SGP to come to them, not making those mistakes we were seeing early on, have definitely shapen things up. Now for SGP, back against the wall. Gotta give it their all.
It's a very, very interesting turn of events for Elation. They've actually taken more damage than bullets landed. So they are actually stalled the most here, and SGP can make the first few maneuvers. Rep, though, with first blood drawn, only opens up the lane where you can now see Elation start to stack and overload. The 1v1 on the north side of the map here, between Hyde and Neuton, it's just the most.
I'm just gonna go down. SGP trying to continue to hold for the time. 36 seconds left to work with here. A couple of kills matriculating their way. It comes down to a 2v2. Arcitys and Paul-X, the 2 top standout players for this team, now have the opportunity to lead them to a round win. Keep their hopes alive. side of Elation, it's just a very hard play to make. I mean, you don't have a lot of clearance over towards this bomb. 17 seconds left to work with as well. So not only do you have to deal with these two players, you're going to have to hop on. But Yin will find the first. 11 seconds left to work with here. Time ticking away. Nowhere near that bomb. And Arsenes is going to get the check to go. And the time will be the additional factor. SGP will find another round.
Arcity playing his life very well in the situation, shows you the years of experience in a 1v2 situation where the kills are complementary, but the life is the most important thing to focus on when you have got to bait out players away from the objective, given that, you know, numbers. In a 1v2, again, they can defuse, hold a line, have to fit a push from Arcities, but I feel like, you know, in that situation, again, that's where zealousness is Elation's problem here in the final few rounds, and this is where you start to really break away from constructs of how to open up an S&D map or even crack a first blood, because now teams are going to be very aggressive and at least try and spam the cross as much as possible with loads of utility to combat.
Elation is just about capitalizing on that first mistake, but if SGP doesn't make one to begin with, the question becomes, where is their win condition? Back and forth we go for the trades to kick things off, still firing forward. Arcenes has to drop back down. The low HP. Gray just continues to apply the pressure down the left side of the map, looking to get the shallow and will find the kill onto Arcenes. That's the opening that Elation might need. Press forward.
When Courage barely gets away with his life. Fortunately, though, players there to meet, and Kex is so far pushed up. Elation can almost take this freely. Paulx in a 1v3, where you won't even spot the barrel. All it takes, again, is just one move of the dice and a commitment to bomb. I think Paul here might have read this perfectly, because that right there is only the toughest margin to get out of Quinn.
Ow! Paul is still alive. Paul is still alive, and he gets the information that they're dropping down below. Hold on. Not gonna have enough HP, though, and Elation is going to find the S and D. Bring us to a map number 3, and Connie, it's the underdog, but they're biting back.
Oh, it's always in the assertion to show we see this opportunity arise. I mean, we know much the pros practice the respawn modes in terms of scrim preference. Not only does S&D at the pro level, only in Chows, for example, because information is just way too valuable to give out in most of the community's sake. So yeah, a control, one way to finish it off. And definitely SGP there having some question marks. So I really think that was their best section of show performance that we've seen from more, particularly those two players in Paulx and Arceties all year. But the new guys, again, still maybe are actually starting to see a bit of zealousness and a bit more attent to getting kills. They value that so much, right? And at that age, why wouldn't you? Because you see a win condition there and just getting the kills needed. But like patience again there. Those great opportunities where SGP showed it, but Elation just had the perfect reroute to find the new timing and find success.
Yeah, and I mean, they were just taking advantage of everything that SGP gave them. It wasn't necessarily SGP just losing straight out. It was SGP making a couple of weird plays or weird mistakes or anything of the sorts like that. And Elation was just able to capitalize. That's the word that I was looking for. Absolutely. The Vista hardpoint really set us on this idea of, hey, you know, SGP, definitely one of the best teams within the landscape of this tournament. But you got to look out for the underdog, Connie.
I feel like that's always going to be a thing, especially at local lands where, you know, at some point in time, these big dogs were actually, you know, breaking out. You can talk about RCE's, you know, first few, like, Challenger events back in the day. He was in Black Ops 3. You know, that's when he started breaking onto the scene, and then in Infinite Warfare, that was where he really, you know, took a shine and then started his career truly. But I feel like, you know, again, it's the same stages now for these new guys coming in. Elation, going to take a lot away from this, playing some top-level players. Especially in that pool again, where we're now already cracking through what feels like, you know, the real seeding for brackets and playoffs.
Well, we've made it to our game 3 within this series, Connie, and you talk about the invasion control. Obviously, we saw a tale of two different tales between these two maps, but you talk about the respawn obviously favoring SGP and favoring SGP in a very, very big way. Talk to me a little bit about what Elation could potentially do to continue this upset story.
I feel like Elation have to get over the fact that SGP community and their players combined have probably played over 1,000 maps this year. Elation and LAN have probably played like... No, now 2 on record, right? So it's more or less understanding that your advantage in this situation is they can't predict what you do, only how much information you give them in the first map. And the first map, again, was such a blowout. SGP will have to look forward and understand that, yes, it was great to win that. We got nothing from it. We just battered them. But the S&D was a great sort of telltale lesson of... You have to play series and matches to a point where you can take so much information away from your opponents, especially in the longer ones, best of 5, best of 7, which understand, again, to the player's caveat, it's harder in the best of 3. But maximizing that opportunity in return or investment is just so key.
SGP starting off on the attacker side, have the opportunity to set some tempo, set some gusto. Over towards that B side they go. Elation is just about having that calm, cool, collected mentality. Keep that defense strong, lock in and load. SGP have that first kill on the board, now trying to charge on in.
Interesting play. Yin's made a wonderful effort to keep his life here, but has sacrificed at least a point. And there's a kill found into RCEs on A, so there's no return of a huge investment sending a player off an A that we saw in the previous series. 2 ticks, I think, was what Alicia got in that situation, but I really think SGP are against a much more tougher opponent in that situation. And now you have to just divert your attention and retime the A hit because B is your core focus here.
Cray is just doing everything for this team. He is completely keeping this hold alive. Another kill on the board, and SGP still trying to funnel in over towards this B side, but they just continue to be reduced. One after another, they get picked apart, and Elation has held things down to this time. 42 seconds left. Now the touch coming in from Lo6.
Utility belt's available as well, so you can stall the push. Not if Yin has actually got a nade available and he's damaged already. And that's Elation's key. They're just going to spam nades off spawn and just try and get them off B as much as possible. But again, they're going to risk losing their lives and having to wait for a respawn. By that point, SGP have the experience to really implement a spawn trap. We've seen it on A so much now in the past 2 months where it felt for so long, Quinn, that you couldn't crack A control on Invasion in the round 5. But it's just broken up so much in that time from meta changes and different play styles.
It was inevitable. The B bomb site, B hill, gone, done, and dusted. Now for SGP, the question is, with 17 lives apiece, can they parlay that over towards the A side? The setup here for Elation, very aggressive, still trying to hold the pincer over towards B and potentially collapse on in. But if that falls apart, questions start to arise here, whether they can hold on to this A hill. Trying to make the approach on in is encouraged. First kill on the board. Time starting to be soaked up, but no, is going to be shut down by the Rogue Trophy.
I see Elation, they're not having the most attention to detail when they're holding that. From that kill there we saw, and there was pretty much a full utility belt there for, I think, Cray and Rep. Nothing was thrown. SGP can just pretty much take the free fights in the cameras, so that's a break where really at this level you can't accept that sort of behavior. You just gotta really lock it in there. And now we see the life count go to 14-12, and pretty much now it's SGP's turn.
Hyde's going to go on the do-si-do here. SGP is going to have the opportunity to close this thing out here. And now second tick of progress is going to be made. Hyde still standing tall in the hill, but he's the lone player. Has to get his teammates on in, or has to be the lone player who will stand tall. Yin rounds the corner, finds one. Kex will find the other, though. And that's going to clear things out, at least for the time being. Still a minute left on the clock. 9-7 in terms of lives here.
1v1 between Courage and Kex. That's just even touch time. Look at what Lo6 is doing. He's routing around the back. A kill onto Yin there would pretty much ensure SGP's push. The kill, though, onto Rep alerts them their position. Look at the focus now. Blue arrows, look away, look back, and Courage has to give up the space because there's no teammates to support this take.
There's only 3 lives left for Elation, and they have to play each life to perfection here. SGP has a couple of respawns in their back pocket. That's one down. Yin taken out of the equation. It's just Cray and Rep trying to hold things down. 38 seconds left, but it's not going to be enough. SGP will win on the lives. Take that first round on the board. The attacker side going their way.
Oh, it's beautiful to actually see them win this half with no real tick progression, but actually the kills instead. It just shows you how powerful they are with the guns, and even the nade at the end as well. Just sort of a picture-perfect finish to what feels like a match where they were heavily outskilled Elation. So let's look towards the next round, flip the sides around, see who's on for streaks, who can play for what. I mean, listen, this is where the players now have to start scaling up in different mentality portions and just reserve their life if they really can get things that will impact the later rounds.
I mean, for SGP, it just, again, is that respawn prowess. It's, you just take that S&D and kind of chalk it out when you have a best of 3 because it's double respawn. They have the opportunity to really just instill their will in the gunplay. Elation still very quick to make their way on into this hill to touch for the time. Rep will be taken off the time, though, and that is going to be a full reset very quickly. SGP is acting.
RCE opening up Palace means that SGP can actually enforce Forklift and Ice Cream. Elation can't even break through their own spawn here, and this is a very dangerous setup. RCE's, though, can only really take kills where he feels confident. The trophy there will be useless to put down because at this stage you want to save it for a point.
Elation is just getting completely sent to the blender. This is not what you want to see, especially so early on in a round. 48 seconds left to work with here, and 48 seconds left to get out of their own spawn, and then hopefully have some time to even make it into a hill. Kills continue to just justify the way of SGP. Finally, maybe finding his way out, though, over towards this B side is Cray, looking to make something happen.
SGP actually are taking their time here on this take towards A. Although there's one player floated up towards B, I mean, listen, that's the point. They're distracting Elation from overcommitting and overflowing down to the south side of the map because they know what the important zones might look like. Yes, you can completely give up this point, but fight like advantage and a full setup on A. But Paul still wants to get it, and I understand it now. Just rinse the clock, rinse the life count, and give him no window to take A.
Setting up to take B here and now. Still SGP though, they are providing so much pressure despite this. Obviously have that life advantage, sending in the shots, trying to connect onto Cray, and Courage is having a little bit of a tough time there, but still the pressure being felt. That is enough. Elation still on for the time though. Trophy Systems doing God's work on this hill, and Kex will be doing enough to solidify. A 2 life differential as SGP continued the assault on in now. Towards A we go.
Lovely. See Elation. Still confident in the gunfights. No support here. Reps pretty much walking into a death trap. And the remaining players are nowhere near. They're in the middle of the map, and SGP have completely flooded over towards the point.
Very tough here for Elation to try and break through this fortitude. SGP has building. 45 seconds left to do so despite Cray. First line of offense on in. Elation spawning in no man's land as well. Just trying to create any space that they possibly can. SGP is so far played up as well over towards that B side, and justifiably so as they continue to get the kills. 28 seconds left.
Elation aren't moving. Now's the time to go. The kills actually are lined up perfectly for SGP. It's because the clock timing was awful from Elation. They had no real concept of when to move. There's too much hesitation. No trust in what their system should look like. And Arcity's now is just rinsing, eliminating anyone from getting their point. It's a double life lead for SGP, and it's an easy close for 2-0.
Yeah, there's just nothing that you can do here if you are Elation. You're too far away to contest, too far away. Not going to be able to get any kills either. SGP, they take that second round. The defense goes their way as well. Now just 1 round away from closing.
And that is just simply gorgeous to watch. And it's just only adding to what pool play means. I really think now SGP are in a driving seat, and there's no real chance of letting Elation have a look in what the river mirror says, right? They've got understanding now that the confidence is truly theirs. They can cruise. It feels like now they're in autopilot, and just, you know, sort of flow state mentality for SGP to close this one out, Quinn. I really can see it happening in this particular round.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically speaking, even if you don't take another attacker side round, that defense, it just looked too much to handle for Elation. But still, SGP gonna charge on in towards this B side. Elation will meet them with the resistance. Also have Arcity's flush towards the bottom side of the map, and if he can take down number 5, that's Cray on your minimap, could potentially pull Elation down, and that's gonna create so much space for SGP to funnel.
SGP have played it pretty perfect in this situation, you know? They don't really want to force too many problems, but I have to love the fact that SGP, in a situation now where they're going for more for time, they're going for it, because they understand now that Elation have made adaptations to almost cancel their impressive attack side last time round.
Elation still into this hill, still trying to contest over towards B, and SGP does not have the clearance that you might have anticipated them having. Elation is actually getting a couple of key kills here. Keep themselves on this map. Arcity's trying to crouch on in, not going to be able to.
Very slow round for SGP. And I think they understand that the pacing's completely changed in this match to a point now where they have to almost rescind power in a lot of these positions. So it's just a trade of pinstripes here in the feed. And all Elation can do in this spot again is just defend B. No one's on A yet, which is actually quite a big opening here for SGP. Once somebody realizes that the routes need to be changed around, then they can really make a huge, huge mistake out of Elation's strategy.
I mean, Elation is just lining him up, bringing him down. Cray on the Renetti might be stronger than anything I've ever seen. Elation just completely piecing them apart. SGP completely in the blender. Again, as you said, not making the approach over towards the A side, continuing to pressure over towards B, and with these spawns, that's really all that you can do. 4 seconds left to touch. Elation so far played up, and Courage will find one, but that one will not be enough. SGP gonna lose a round. Still, I mean, they might still be in the driver's seat.
Of course, like you said beforehand, mathematically speaking, they got a defense coming up next, and it would be a real shame if something were to go wrong, and I'm not going to cast a curse out, I promise you, SGP. I would have to assess just what needs to change though in terms of pacing, because they really struggled to understand how quickly the fights were going to take place. And again, they put themselves in a spot where Elation were in ages ago, a deathly spawn trap. And SGP just kept hitting the same site over and over again. No variety, so it was almost going to result in them losing the round.
SGP now on defense, as we said, and still very much in the driver's seat, despite Elation having a very, very good round. Elation, uncustomary, heading over towards that A side of things, trying to create space down there, but just every single kill gonna go up pink in the feed. And the only player that can really make this happen any stretch of the imagination, but it is going to be enough of a nuisance down over towards that A side to create some space over towards B. This might be the strat for Elation.
Nice positioning here from Elation. You're right, they actually have got 3 players stacked on point. SGP haven't really responded in quick time. So there's almost plenty of opportunity here just to read the kills, but that's impressive to see. Hyde has rotated the entire portion of B, and now it's in their control. You can see now that Elation has to make a big play call here, and once they decide let's go A, it's actually going to put pressure on SGP to sprint away. But the kills are found, Quinn. So what do we see next?
The question is, I mean, you have SGP spawning over towards that A side. That's exactly where Elation wanted to hit. But the B side completely wide open instead. They are going to continue to charge into A. Might have not been the advisable decision, though, as SGP have those respawns. They have the kills to justify as well. Eventually, Elation will wise up to that. Make the approach on into B. The 3 stack will go, and now SGP has to make a response.
And Kex is pushed out straight away. The kills around tank are so hard to find, but that's just not fair. That is almost SGP realizing now we have full control. We have all the kills, and we can do what they did to us. We can trap them in B, put someone in mid. That's going to be Hyde to watch the flank, because that's where Elation now have big decisions to make, but they're all wrong.
15 seconds left, and SGP cutting them up, but no! Elation will find the opening in desperate times. It calls for desperate measures, and Rep will rise to the occasion. Give them that extra minute on the board. You take a look at that life differential, 6 lives favoring SGP, who are completely pressed up into this B side still. Nobody over towards A. If Elation is going to try and make the rotation, now is the time to do it.
Nice to understand now just how SGP can work around the situation. Big life lead. It almost feels like now Elation are completely out of ideas, out of hope, and lost all fortune.
Hopes and dreams being vanquished live here and now. Cut the cams, my goodness. SGP has put on an absolute masterclass regardless of how you cut it. 34 seconds left on the board. Elation will finally clear them out, but that's just going to send them straight down to the A hill. Those respawns will be in for Elation. It has to be a clean 4 dead in the feed. It feels like that's the first start, though, for Cray. Take out Encourage. 19 seconds left to work with here. Still the 4 life favoring SGP. Back and forth you go. You can't take trades. You gotta go.
10 seconds left. It almost feels like case closed. One last touch, and I tell you what, Kex is holding on so much. But at this point now, no one can touch the time. Elation, my friends, it's not going to be good news.
2 seconds left, and the last player that could have feasibly touched is going to be dropped. SGP. Gonna close it out with a 3-1 victory on Invasion Control. Close it out with a 2-1 to kick off their pool play.
And it's just a wonderful look for SGP. I mean, listen, they're also now at this point here just understanding how it's going to go. First series is always the hardest to go by, especially, you know, when you wait a little bit to play today. So yeah, I think there's no more assessments to be had. The favorites won. Elation took a map off them. Impressive. Took a round off them in control as well. So we're seeing what the strengths lie with this team in particular. Let's just hope that Elation can get out of pools and meet them again in bracket play.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely showed some promise. It's going to be a tall task ahead of them, though. They move forward. That being said, SGP looks really, really good. The S&D a little bit suspect, though, I will say, Connie. I mean, you get taken to by Elation. Might have just been a rough start there. Nonetheless, you take a look at the grand scheme of this. Obviously, we had Omit on the broadcast a little bit earlier, and they were absolutely dominant on the S&D. They've already called out SGP. We've already done that whole mess, so I'm not going to go ahead and repeat it. But still, a win is a win. 2-1 nonetheless.
We'll also be having an interview lined up for you today with SGP. This time, Encourage be in the hot seat, and let's just hope instead of Ryan, he actually wears the headset correctly. Isn't that right, Quinn?
Yeah, no, it's a fashion statement, you know?
Yeah, of course. Well,
you gotta make a play.
Big play. Or potential, you know, earburst drum, you know. Worded terribly, you get the point. Yeah, it could be danger for a LAN event. Either way, though, I think encourage having perspective on that and knowing already what Ryan has said on behalf of Omit. Yeah, it's definitely two of the younger guys that are competing in this tournament and definitely the most passion, which is always a key word to throw around in Call of Duty.
Yeah, well, let's bring him on. Encourage, how are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good,
win
brother.
on the board.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Encourage, I'd love to dive in a little bit here. You're playing with Varsities and Paul X. I mean, again, for this year for you, Modern Warfare 3, definitely a breakout year. It's a nice way to raise the eyebrow, get some eyeballs onto you and see how you play and how you feel. But from your own eyes, how would you say your year has gone as a rookie season? And what were your goals and ambitions coming into Modern Warfare 3? Now, Black Ops 6 is just around the corner and you're looking for teammates.
Honestly, this year I felt like I had definitely a breakout year. Joining FaZe Black and now being on SGP, like it's crazy, man. But next year, I got some ideas. I got some things in the works, so I'm gonna see what happens. But I'm excited. I'm really excited.
A very promising start. You gotta give your hat off. I mean, talk to me a little bit though. Obviously, having RCs on a team, 2.5-time world champ. What does that kind of do for a team? What kind of mentorship or influence does that have?
I mean, he's a vet. He's keeping us composed and he's keeping us locked in. So we're always have the right mental, and going into matches, we're always locked in.
What's the atmosphere so far? Again, it's a nice mixture of competition, actually, at this tournament. You've got some ex-pros, you've got some current pros, you've got world champions, you've got a great team coming into this one, and some pretty good rivals as well. We know we had a chat with Brooklyn and Ryan, and he basically said all the nasty things you could say about a rival. So I'd love to sort of antagonize a little bit here and just understand, because he said you guys are going to lose, and I just want to just sort of get, is there a nice encourager or a really, really nasty encourager in there somewhere?
They're a good team, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to let the game talk.
Oh, wicked. That's the best way to be, because he's going to guarantee a win easy. He read the playbook. He read the actual script of this particular LAN. Encourager, a smart man.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me, before we let you go, talk to me a little bit about that high-rise S&D. Obviously, you guys started off a little hot, but Elation was able to find their way back into the mix of that. What kind of adjustments, if you can give me an eye in, are you guys looking to make there to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Probably just not getting blooded and getting the bomb down on offense.
There you have it. That's a good strat.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Encourage, thanks so much for having us, and thank you for your time. Just have a nice relaxing period now. You've won your series, got 2 more today in pool play, and then obviously playoffs begins, and that's where, it gets a bit more grueling. You're going to be locked into a point now where we're probably not going to hear a word out of you for the next 48 hours. So enjoy it, have a nice rest, and again, congratulations on a nice win, and we'll see you very soon again, good sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
Dub City for SGP as they kick off their pool play. They 1-0 victory over Elation, making their names and presence felt in the landscape of this tournament. Still a lot of great Call of Duty to come your way, though, folks. The Premier Circuit, Legends of Six Major 4 continues after this break.